Hello again, welcome back. We are still here with more All Skills Tournament action. We have got coming up for you right now, Rufus versus Flux. My name is Vol'jin, I'm back here to commentate again today, and I'm here with Rainbow Poogle. Poogle, how are you doing today?
Hey Vol'jin, I'm doing A-okay. I'm excited that we have so much Ori going on today. It's gonna be fantastic. It's been fantastic already. We've had some good races. We're gonna get some good races more.
That's right, we have all sorts of good ones coming up. For now, we've got a little bit of, kind of a different kind of matchup than some of the previous ones we've seen. We've got Rufus versus Flux. Rufus and Flux, their difference between their PBs is pretty substantial. So we're not exactly expecting to see like a super close competitive race. Again, this is one of those cases we're going to be looking for, to see Rufus and Flux each have a solid run. I'd love to see Flux PB here today. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, so would I. That would be fantastic.
Yep. So, Poogle, what can you tell us about Flux?
Flux learns the game for the 12-hour challenge this year, and this is not his first speedrunning rodeo. He's run Super Mario 64 DS as well.
That's right. He's rocking the 56-55 PB there. Rufus, I'm glad you mentioned the 12-hour challenge thing, because Rufus is also a 12-hour challenge learner for Ori, but he did it last year, so they have that in common, just the 1 year apart. But they're both making really good progress, having just learned the game, comparatively recently in that regard.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm pretty excited for this match. Again, we're not really expecting to see like a super close, like, oh man, either runner could take this. Realistically, Rufus is going to be most likely walking away with the victory today. What Flux is going to want to do is play his heart out, get his best time that he can possibly get, and try for a PB, things like that.
Which I totally think is possible.
Yeah, I think Flux told us what his sum of best was. Did you catch that, Poogle?
I believe his sum of best was something like a 48.
Yeah, I think that was the number. And that's pretty crazy. Given that his PB is like a 58 or whatever, there's a pretty significant amount of room there, as we do get the bird swoosh, and we're going to get started right now.
And there we go. Alrighty.
Oh yeah, we're going to get hot and heavy into the action here with some running.
And some jumping. Don't forget the jumping.
That's right. Hold left. They're going to press A a couple times. Now they're going to hold down, press A. Okay. Ooh, that was tough. Now we're going to hold left and press A some more.
We're going to hop over some poison water. Hold A, press some more. And now we're going to press the button that lets us save with that energy we just get.
That'd be the B button. Of course, Poogle, you're a KBM runner, so you're like, what are these controls? Oh, man. Yeah, no, the beginning here, of course, not really super complicated, but it makes a nice warm-up, in my opinion. You just kind of get into the action, ease it a little bit, not have anything super complex for at least a minute and a half or so.
And both runners now picking up the first ability of the game, Sign, which is going to allow us to shoot things in the environment, such as enemies, brambles, well, whatever you'd like to call them.
Sticker thingies. I don't know. Anyway, we're shooting them. Frankies died. That fight, of course, unskippable, but the XP is quite skippable. These runners are intending to manipulate their XP count as they're going here, so you see Rufus picking up a couple there. There's a little yellow orbs, and they're making their way up. Already a slight difference, as Flux just having a little bit of inconvenience down there, but not a huge problem. Rufus attempting to damage down. He's going to set up for his Ghost Door coming up.
Absolutely. Now, Ghost Door, meaning that the runners aren't going to have to sit there and wait for the door to open. They can just throw themselves into the poison water, and when they get back, the door will magically open for them. As Rufus has done excellently now.
Yep, and Flux will be following along shortly. Both runners actually got a little bit trolled by the slime on that log that they killed. Dropped a health drop for them, which would have restored their health a little bit and cost them 1 second waiting for that ghost door death. But they both actually managed to dodge that health pickup, which was pretty good execution from. Oh,
Ooh!
ouch.
Flux not dodging the Frankie, though.
Fortunately, not a huge time loss because of the ghost door save that you place right there. Unfortunately, that means they're without energy for a little bit, so you can't make any more safety saves really along the way here without kind of going out of your way to pick up some energy.
That's true. Flux, however, getting to that 4th health cell that will give the runners a full refill on their health after that scary ghost door, which makes dodging these slimes a lot easier heading down this elbow.
Yeah, that's right. Flux skipping the flower on the ceiling there, often taken by most runners to get a quick 5 XP. He opts not to take it. Rufus is getting his level up on the way into the wall jump tree. We'll see whether Flux is going to get that same level up on the way in or if he'll get it on the way out. But that's what a lot of this XP manipulation is for. We're going to want those level ups at specific times, and Rufus was able to get his at the one he wanted. Flux, I'm guessing, is doing pretty okay on XP, but we'll see.
Looks like he's having a there we go. Had a little trouble getting through to that flower, but does manage to get the level up on the way down as well. As our runner's going to have a high 5. Flux going down to the wall jump tree, while Rufus coming back up from the wall jump tree.
Yeah, and Flux took a brief moment there, too, to collect some of the XP from those brambles he blew up. Rufus not going to be able to get that XP, and again, that is kind of just a personal thing that as far as each runner manipulating their XP count, but you can kind of do it however you want. Each runner will have their own way of manipulating their XP or figuring out the count. But Rufus is making clean work of this movement on the way back, getting that solid jump manipulation over those slimes, so not taking more than 1 damage. Pretty good from him.
Mm-hmm. The early experience route for every runner is a little different regardless of who's doing it, so it's always really cool to see how the runners manipulate that early XP for the tricks later that we're going to have to do to sequence break this game way open wide.
Oh boy, Flex got a rough time with that Trojan log there, which is named after the runner Trojan dude, but is definitely not a log. But it actually slowed down its swing, so he managed to get by. And then he also dropped a safety save, which you don't see very often on this segment. And now we have Rufus coming into BRB, and he's going to do this Save Anywhere glitch to learn an ability after triggering this cutscene to be able to skip the cutscene and save about 20 seconds of having to watch some exposition that we don't really care about.
Well, this is a speedrun. Who cares about exposition?
I mean, we have time to look up the story afterwards. Particularly if Rufus finishes first, he might be able to, put on some of those cutscenes for us in the the library.
Well, I would hope not. I don't particularly feel like crying today.
Boogle, we're down in everyone's favorite area, Blackroot Burrows.
Oof, filled with deadly lasers, deadly spikes, deadly, well, just about everything.
Platforms that bob up and down, and if you jump at the wrong time, you're going to fall into the spikes that, as mentioned, are deadly. And he's going for this jump up here on this annoying wall. It's not very cooperative. It's giving him a little trouble right now, and Flex is actually kind of fast approaching as he's doing his cutscene skip, but Rufus does manage to get up now. He needs to collect this 100 XP here for another level up.
And is stopping to grab the experience from that slime as he leveled up Rekindle and not Magnet coming down, so he's got to make sure that, ooh, nice jumps too, that if he needs to collect experience, he's got to stand almost right under it.
Yeah, and that's going to be most likely part of his XP route that he's kind of worked out for himself. He did not get the XP since he took the level up on the way down to wall jump. Oh, and he's missing a platform cycle here too. That's going to cost him basically the full 8 seconds of this cycle here. But Flux taking a death on the way in as well, so helping out Rufus just a little bit in making sure that he's not really going to be in any danger here.
Ooh, oh, Rufus managing to stay on the platform after getting sniped.
Oh, not only that, but jumping over to collect the XP from the slime above. That was pretty cute maneuver there. Again, not having Magnet, but he needed all 36 XP from all those slimes, but he managed to get it. And it looks like his manipulation of this platform in this room is good too, so pretty good job by Rufus, and Flux managing to get his jump up here as well, having a little bit of trouble, just like Rufus did, because this is a really annoying, precise jump.
Isn't that like half the game, Willow?
You're not wrong.
Flux grabbing that orb and heading up to where Rufus is about to skip another cutscene with Save Anywhere.
Yeah, this one, one of the comparatively more recent cutscene skips that we found. Rufus, you see, having a slight bit of difficulty with the Save Anywhere. You can actually set up a bind to perform the Save Anywhere setup. You have to perform 2 inputs on the same frame. And if you set up the proper bind with your key rebindings, you can actually just have a button that you press twice while highlighting that thing in order to set up the glitch. Rufus opting for, it looks like he uses a default controller controls, so you actually have to press the A and B buttons on the same frame, which can be somewhat challenging. So just a couple flubs by him there, but not a huge deal otherwise.
And looks like he's getting oh no, he's gonna get the experience in that slime, so he's gonna be a lot closer to the Frankie Walk XP.
Wow, he must have been very low on XP before. Of course, he would have had a chance to check that XP when he got to the Spirit Well. It looks like he knew that he was going to need even more XP than the 3 slimes before would have given him. So an interesting sequence here, but should be good for Frankie Walk here. He didn't level up already, so that's good.
That means he's going to be really close to leveling up here, but just enough so that he can get this 4 energy door open.
We are making our way here across. Oh, boy.
Oh.
Those spikes on the right end of that little thing deal 2 damage, and the spikes on the left deal 1, and Rufus had 4, so he managed to barely survive all that damage. He is through, but now the dangerous part.
He's gonna go through the water, kill the slime, wall jump up under the Frankie! Oh, and he's through!
Wow, that was terrifying, Poogle.
Oh. Flux is getting his dash skill as well.
Rufus technically not out of the woods yet, but now he is. He gets the energy and makes a save point, so he's good to go now.
Oh!
Well-timed save. Ooh. Nearly getting sniped there again, just having a few slight hiccups. Now, Rufus is actually not seriously grinded this game in quite some time. It's been a while since he last worked on it, so you know there's definitely a lot of possibility for rust here to be affecting him, you know, just subtle movements and things.
Doesn't look like he goes for the god cycle either.
Yeah, that's definitely oh, go ahead.
Looks like you decided to take that one slower because, like you said, it's probably a little rusty on this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those rather precise tricks that, like, if you haven't practiced it, like, you can just go for it if there's no cost for doing that. But if you're not going to get it, why bother?
Mm-hmm. And looks like Flux is, ooh, so close to both leveling and low on health. Ooh.
All right, Rufus picking up double jump, and he's going to try to do his blind movement menuing as Flux gets his Frankie Walk level. And we're heading to the Death Gauntlet. And this is the scary part again. Oh, a missed shot there. The Frankie doesn't jump, so he's safe. He'll be able to run under him easily. Now, he does need to not run into these brambles here. He took 3 damage into the water, I believe, so as long as he gets up, he does get a health pickup, and he should be good here.
And, ooh, no safety save yet. Oh, there we go. And he's through.
Excellent. And also getting that drop in slime there, trying to snipe him. Oof.
Ooh.
All right, grotto skip attempts coming up for Rufus, and first try was a slight miss, but he gets it on the second, so that's very nice. You see Flux also not going for that early grotto cycle attempt, as he hasn't practiced it either. You know, when your PB is a 58 or 56 or whatever it was, you got lots of other things that you can work on that are pretty good investments of your time. That grotto cycle, it's 8 seconds. It's not the payoff that you need just yet.
Mm-hmm. Rufus getting really... okay. I was worried for a second. I almost thought Flux didn't get the ghost orb, but it looks like he's having a little trouble trying to jump over the spikes.
That jump is deceptively difficult to deal with. It can be very easy to just run yourself into some spikes there. And he throws down another save just for the heck of it. That means he'll be foregoing the ow.
I do not believe he will be foregoing the ow.
Well, he did experience some ow, but what he will actually be foregoing is the blind cutscene movement, which is totally fine. And you see on Rufus's side, he actually stopped here to pick up a health cell. This is one he told us he would be getting the 2 energy door here in Grotto. He'll be going for a total of 6, but just having this one here will make it a little bit nicer in Sorrow Pass dealing with the spikes.
Absolutely. Having 5 health in Sorrow Pass means that you can actually take a hit from the spikes and not immediately die. Which is nice for some people if they like to use the damage boosting method for getting up there.
That's right. There's a very solid form of Sorrow Bash you can do that is kind of a fair bit easier if you have that health to take that damage boost. Rufus taking a little bit of damage as he gets this level up. What he needs to kind of be aware of is whether or not that damage came before or after his level up and the health refill that you get with that. And now he's making this movement up to the cell, and he gets it pretty cleanly. Flux gonna take his Grotto skip attempts. He's got his log swinging a little bit, but he still gets it second try again, so very nice.
Which is a wonderful improvement from the last time he tried. Apparently in his last race it was about 15 tries, and this was second. That is amazing.
Yeah, Grotto skip's not an easy trick. And he's even going for a save anywhere to get the cutscene skip on the falling rocks there. So that's an interesting approach. Instead of doing a
Hey, he gets it.
All right, my mic freaking out a little bit there, but we're all good now. Yeah, missed cutscene skip coming from Rufus. Meanwhile, just a rekindle cutscene skip, just like the one I was trying to describe that Flux wanted to do. But it's not a huge deal to miss it. Only a couple seconds. Flux shows one off there, skipping the top cutscene here of Gumo pulling the rock away or whatever.
And Rufus is into the only dungeon we really do anything in.
That is right, Poogle. He's going to be navigating almost all of this dungeon. Only going to be skipping the escape part of it, but it's fine. We'll do an escape later on in a different dungeon, so that counts, right?
Kind of, I suppose. I mean,
I guess you could basically say we complete one total dungeon.
We complete one dungeon. We see 2 and, well, we don't talk about the last one.
All right, Rufus making his way very effectively in Ginso, and he is entering the puzzle room here. There's not much of a puzzle or anything, but you got to use this log to redirect these shots, and he's going to do it pretty easily. Flux, meanwhile, is making his way through what we call the iceless area.
Nice safety save.
Yep, that's a pretty common one that you'll see almost all runners place because there's very little cost to doing it, and he does take the death right after it, so good job having it there.
Absolutely. Those spikes are always a little too deceptive when it comes to where they actually are.
Yeah, they got their, we get the Spirit Magnet ability to draw in the XP orbs. The spikes have the Ori Magnet ability.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, a good mini-boss by Rufus on the left side. That mini-boss spawns in random spots around the room. You gotta seek him out and just plink away at him with your shots. It takes, I believe 32 shots to finish him off. Sorry, 40 shots, my bad. And Rufus dealing with that pretty effectively, while and he's gonna make his way to the Bash Tree shortly while Flux is about to enter Ginso.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's your favorite part about Bash? Religion?
Personally, I like the part where the arrow makes you go in a direction, but I do also like the part where the tail end of the arrow makes the enemy go in the opposite direction. Those are good parts.
Well, that is a good thing, but it also means we have to get pretty close to anything that now wants to kill us.
Yeah, it's a very it turns the game into very aggressive kind of thing where you're like heat seeking out the enemies to let you go faster, but or in this case projectiles. Each of these projectiles deals 2 damage if you happen to collide with it. But Rufus is going to try to instead use them to redirect with Bash to break barriers, and pulls that off pretty well. As Flux is making his way through this annoying room with these platforms and gamers on them, named after the Super Metroid enemies. This is actually the only room in the game where those gamers show up.
Well, no, I was trying to come up with a clever pun from that, but let's turn our direction to where Rufus gets his key to properly.
That's right, you need to take a death while placing the keystones in that door, and there's just a certain spot on those spikes that you can be close enough to put the keys in, while also taking the death. Rufus getting that spot and being able to get his duplication, so he's got 3 extra keystones that he wouldn't otherwise have.
And he's into the second technical mini-boss of the Genso tree, which is mostly using that wonderful new bash skill to redirect shots into the shooting elemental.
Poogle, have you ever seen the glitchless speedrun of the game, back when you used to get Charge Flame in that route, before Genso?
No, I actually haven't.
The mini-boss strat for that is pretty cool. You can actually make use of Charge Flame to, like, reflect the shots at him. Unfortunately, we don't really get the opportunity to do that here, because we won't pick up Charge Flame until 7th out of the 11 skills.
That I actually did know. I know that some people like to use Charge Flame to reflect shots from the elementals much later in horror fields when they're trying to set up the very silly grenade jumps.
Nice. I've never seen that before, but I can buy it.
Ooh! Flux ended up getting damaged into spikes and having to start the mini-boss over.
That's really unfortunate. It can be very, very costly on time to die to this mini-boss, as, I mean, it's just a slow fight in general. Rufus, meanwhile, working on his swamp entry. He's gonna bash this frog over here, took his frog off the spikes, which necessitated a 2 damage boost, and he managed to avoid getting hit by that shot. Unfortunately, some of these bashes aren't quite right. Okay,
saving it, though.
Yeah, he's going for the more typical setup now, but he doesn't quite get the reflect, and he kills the frog. He's going to have to go take an intentional death and retry this now.
And he's going to have to take the save back from the laser skip. He didn't make a save of what the frog was.
Yeah, that's unfortunately a big time loss for him now. Again, that's not going to really put a big impact into the deficit for Flux. But, you know, at this point, Rufus is more looking for a good best race time, and this will hurt a little bit. Fortunately, he'll still have 4 other races after this, even if he does, like, have a ton more spaghetti. But, you know, he'll just wants to have a good time today, in general.
Ooh, missing the frog again into the water.
Google, this isn't an easy trick, as you well know.
This is not an easy trick. Made slightly more difficult by being on controller, because a lot of keyboard and mouse users like to double bash this one. And so controller, it's a lot more difficult to get that strategy down.
Yeah, for the most part, you're pretty much not going to be able to do it on controller. There's very few runners who can even double bash once on controller, let alone consistently enough to do the 2 double bash strat. But Rufus is continuing to go at it, and now actually, you know, what I said earlier, at this point, this is kind of leaving it in the room where Flux could even catch up, which is definitely not what Rufus wants to see. But he does get his frog into a position again, but he had already taken damage, so he couldn't bash the frog off the spikes. There is a safe way to do that without taking damage, but I don't believe that Rufus knows it.
He's still not making the safety save. Rufus, please.
Alright, he's got his frog off the spikes again, as Flux does get a successful key dupe on his side. Gonna put the frog in the corner again, and now he needs to get this sequence of bashes. It looks like he remembers the correct setup, but oh no, but he bashes the frog early again. He probably expected that shot was gonna break the ceiling, but it didn't. And as a result, he could not, like, this setup that he's using damages the frog so much that he can't afford to bash him another time. Meanwhile, Flux is having an interesting time with that middle keystone there, but he's able to collect it, and he'll be taking his save, getting his Ghost Ore, making his way into this mini boss, and he really is closing in here. That said, this is a very hard trick, and I'm sure it's hard for Flux as well, as an even less experienced runner, so we'll see whether he has any problems with it.
Rufus taking a damage. Still, man, he's on 1 health. Can take a single dip into the water without having to die to spikes. Bashes down, bashes up. Looks good. Oh, so close.
His height needs to be, this might be it. There
Gets
it is. Yep, and he is in the swamp. That height that you have when the frog shoots the last shot, you need to be right under the barrier. And finally, he got the timing just in time. So he was able to make his way in. Now, the interesting thing is, we talked about this before the race, and I kind of joked that maybe this wouldn't have much bearing on anything, but Rufus is watching his opponent, correct?
Yes, from what I remember talking to runners before, Rufus is watching his opponent.
Yeah, so that makes a slightly interesting thing here, as Rufus knows that Flux actually has caught up to be fairly close behind him, whereas Flux is just playing his game. He has no idea what Rufus is doing, which is probably better for his mental state. It might make him more nervous if he saw that he was actually close behind his opponent.
Flux taking that safety save over there, which is a good thing because the frog goes for a swim.
Yeah, we're seeing that that initial bash is very complicated to aim. It's very easy to kind of want to aim it too high because of this. If you send the frog too far to the right, he ends up in the water. Oh wow. Rufus not making a safety save anywhere beyond the stomp tree, and he takes a death to his frog, so he's all the way back to stomp. These are really not time losses that he can afford, so for Rufus' sake, we're gonna hope he gets it cleaned up soon.
Flux knowing where to stand so that he doesn't take damage for bashing the frog over.
Very nice, and now we'll see if he knows the timing there. Oh, that is a beautiful, lovely.
That was about second time? He dunked the frog at least once, but that was the first time of getting the bashes over there.
That's correct. That was just absolutely incredible execution by him, and saves a huge amount of time compared to what Rufus got. So yeah, he's probably about a minute and change behind Rufus right now. Very nice job by Flux.
I'm hearing from the truck that it was a 3rd attempt at Flux getting in there. That is spectacular.
All right, Rufus manages to get his ability cell from the frog here. He actually had to use a backup strat because he killed the frog, but now we're going to be seeing him come to the Kuro cutscene skip, and we'll see whether he's able to get this. I seem to recall that this was one of the strats that he was pretty solid at, but unfortunately, either my recollection is mistaken or it wasn't. But either way, he'll be seeing an angry bird for about 17 seconds.
Absolutely. I'm wondering if nerves are starting to play a part in this too, because both runners had said they were pretty nervous in the run. I know Flux had said that he's just really more so running to for himself to make his time better, and he's over 2.5 minutes ahead of his PB itself.
Yep, that's totally what I would expect given his level of play so far. He is really just moving along without having major issues. Rufus having a great exit from that 5th energy cell, taking a little extra damage boost there, but it wasn't a huge deal. But yeah, Flux, sending that frog off on a journey, and is going to need to take the quick death. But he did put that safety save there, so he is going to get a quick retry on this.
Absolutely. And he's... Oh!
That was very interesting.
I thought he might go to over to the right and over, but he instead waited for the frog to make the shot so that he could just use that time to get to the frog. It's pretty clever.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out, and the frog did not manage to run himself off into his own death, so that was good. Flux going for the Kuro cutscene skip now. We'll see if he's able to manage this. This is a pretty difficult trick, and yeah, that unfortunately was not the setup. It doesn't really cost you that much to even just try for it, even if you don't even know how to do it. So, not a bad play, but yeah, that's a hard setup, and he'll certainly work on that at some point.
That's an absolutely free thing to at least try for. Just all else fails, you're there watching the bird.
Yep, the game has given them the bird. And we will see Flux now going up for his fifth health. The Rufus took one a little bit earlier, but Flux opted to put it off until now. Kind of just a toss-up. They're about the same amount of time spent either way.
With how much this game apparently gives people the bird illusion, I'd be worried for the rating.
Well, speaking of that, the game did kind of give Rufus another little, you know, unkind gesture by dealing a couple bits of damage to him there as he was making his way up through the Valley of the Wind. Now, in this section, oh gosh.
Oh, he's all the way back there.
Oh no! Oh, Flux taking a death there, unfortunately. He did save right after picking the 5th health, too. So his death a lot less costly, but still not a fun one. And the thought I was going to share for Rufus was this section is terrifying. There's a lot of things that deal damage. You'll probably die in 2 hits, and you don't really get to save if you're doing optimal strats. I don't think Rufus is going for fully optimal strats, but unfortunately, even if he was planning to put a safety save down, he died before he could.
Oh, Flux getting out of the insta-kill spikes. Which, it doesn't matter if you have 5 health or however much health. Those are actual insta-kill spikes, and they will kill you.
Extract infinite damage from those spikes, so you are not surviving a hit with them. But fortunately, he does make it out this time, makes his way to Charge Flame. Rufus is coming up to Fast Stompless.
He's going for it.
Right here. Yep, this is pretty consistent with Rufus's game plan. He goes for some pretty serious strats. He'll try the real stuff, even if it doesn't necessarily work out. Interesting setup there. The shot is almost.
Oh no! And he kills the spider.
Oh, and he takes the death, but he had a save right down here anyway, which is about where he would have had to travel back in any case. Using that that spikeless area on the wall to get a jump up.
Right in between.
Nice. Oh, that shot
missing
hit
the
ceiling.
shot. That I didn't know that was actually there. That little spike area, like spikeless area.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying to actually go to use it, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Shot looks good. He's gonna take the damage boost.
Low.
He's gonna take the damage boost. I think it was good.
It was good. Good call. See, this is why I'm bad at this trick. But Rufus is not. He gets it after a little bit of a couple hiccups. And Flux is making his way into Valley, so Flux is only one segment, just the feather segment behind Rufus right now.
And Rufus picking up, well, Glide or Feather, depending on what people would like to call it. And picking up one of the most, well, one of the fastest movement options that we have in this game, Charge Dash. Which is why all of the ability cells are specifically picked up where they are.
That's right. You need to have the ability points for this before you get here, because of that rocket jump, which Rufus just did. It's a technique where you use a charge dash to an enemy above you and then cancel it with a jump. So a really nice, handy thing to have. Discovered by Brynhold, one of the runners in the tournament. It's always a cool little factoid to keep in mind. And the Sarabash for Rufus, very, very solid.
Very clean.
He is in on the first attempt there.
He's not making a safety save. Ooh, he's not making the safety save.
Yep, this is a pretty scary area if you don't save at some point prior to all the terrifying spikes and frog action here. And he's just continuing up. We'll see if he opts for one right here.
No, he's not.
Oh. This is scary. Oh,
oh he's through. He's through. Oh. You know, it looks like Flux is not going for Fast Stompless. Both players going through spikes that are going to instantly kill them if they hit them.
Yeah, looks like Flux is softened up a little bit already, so he does not want to take that damage from those spikes. He's trying to find a good way to bash up from that spider to the next lantern, but if you grab the projectiles instead, it's pretty rough. That's not going to work, unfortunately. There we go. All right, meanwhile, some ability menu action for Rufus, and he is working on his Terra Break. He opts to learn map markers instead of Quick Flame.
Whatever works. That save anywhere through the Dorito Cavern is terrifying.
Yeah, I agree. It's not easy to navigate that area not without being able to see, but with very severely reduced visibility. Think of it as having like pea soup fog in front of you as you're trying to drive on like a mountain road or something. It's pretty not fun.
Yeah, that almost makes me cringe just thinking about it, and I've done that.
But he is going to be able to make his Sunstone cutscene skip now using another ability point. This time he opts for Quick Flame. Doesn't go any further down that purple tree.
Alright, and looks like we're going to have a bit of another high five between the runners, with Rufus going down and Flux going up.
Yep, Flux going to be doing his rocket jump momentarily. He's chasing this frog out.
Oh no!
Aw. Flubs the input, unfortunately. He'll just go take a quick dip in some spikes, and Rufus does the same, unfortunately. But Rufus's was a lot less intentional, so they're both going to be retrying the segments they're on. Oh, that's a laser. And that's a rocket jump.
Little lower than some of the others that in the tournament, but a lot safer, too.
Yeah, manipulating the position of that frog, depending on where you want your rocket jump to be. That's, one of those things that you kind of optimize as you're getting better and better. But for now, Flux would just be happy he gets up nice and quickly. And we're seeing a Sour Bash from him, and that bird is very low, but he takes the damage boost. Oh no!
Oh, that looks so good.
Close. That was a very, very good first attempt by him as Rufus is making his way into Misty. So you're going to see some beautiful movement by Rufus on the left, and you're going to see a second Sour Bash attempt by Flux.
Looks low.
Ooh.
Both runners taking a death at the same time from different sources.
Yeah, this trick is also very difficult. It's one of the gatekeepers of the run, especially if you do it in a 12-hour challenge, as both Rufus and Flux knows, but he's through this time.
And immediate save.
Smart play, as Rufus having some problem with his rocket jump as well, so he's gonna have to rise up this column the old-fashioned way.
There is also the slight danger of getting stuck up there if you end up rocket jumping a little too far.
Oh no!
That looked so good too!
Yeah, just unfortunate not getting out of the way of the projectile there. But fortunately that safety save locking in his progress on Sour Bash, so he's not going to have to go back past that again. He won't have to do it a second time. Whoa. Sniffing those spikes as he goes by though.
Alright, there, it looks like he's got it.
Alright, Rufus making his way down to the climb tree, navigating that big old spike question mark area. Luring the Frankie into the spikes, and he'll be picking up the climb tree as Flux is navigating the
because he
scary,
has
terrible area of sadness.
Because he has 5 health, he can actually take the hit. Oh, I was so scared for a moment.
Yep, successfully navigating the generic potato chip palace. That was a very good job by him. You alright?
All of the names that we have for this place. I can never prepare myself for what's going to come next.
I don't know what you're talking about, Boogle. We're just talking about the name of this area.
Rufus, I am being told by the trucks, had a bit of a frog party before his death.
Owie. Yeah, he and then took a quick dip in the spikes and unfortunately sends him back to the climb tree. But now we're seeing some very nice movement by him. Oh, this is lovely. It looks like he has worked on this a fair bit, and it's a joy to watch as Flux is going to make his way back to set up his Terra Break.
Something I want to mention is that Flux is 4 minutes ahead of his PB because of having apparently a much cleaner charge jump split than his previous best.
That is very nice to hear. Yeah, charge jump is an incredibly difficult segment as Rufus trying to test those spikes, but he opts to play a little safe. It's very easy to lose time on Sorrow Bash. It's very easy to lose time to dying inside Sorrow. Very easy to die to the the chip area. So doing a great job of just minimizing those very costly deaths, and that is one of the biggest steps to getting a very solid PB in this game.
Oh yeah, and Rufus looks like he's just gonna go for the bashing that projectile up and not the rocket jump. Is he going for meatball strats? No, he is not.
No, he's a sane man. He goes for reasonable strats to some extent.
I'm not sure whom that was directed at, but I'm sure a lot of people were about to be realizing that, oh wait, maybe I'm not so sane.
Having an enjoyable little party with these mini bosses. Takes out one.
Takes out the other.
Nice and clean. Not like the mini boss evaporation that you sometimes get to see, but still pretty serviceable and at most a couple seconds slower.
Flux getting hit by a laser on the way down.
Yeah, one of the other infinite damage things in this game. He opts to feather a little bit before heading down this time, and also rekindles that save for safety.
Having that save there was a great thing. Because those laser cycles are a little finicky sometimes.
Yeah, in the past when we learned about Terror Break and came up with how to do that,
is he going for it?
Fastest. Oh, of course. Yep. There you go. Gotta drop your frog friend Wilhelm off the cliff for some enjoyment.
Apparently no one will be able to get to hear it.
They heard it in their hearts.
And that's where it counts.
Oh, ouch. That's annoying death for Flux. Not a huge one or anything. He made a safety save back at the entrance of Misty, so that's a good safety save to make, a very aware one. Another, kind of key aspect of learning and getting faster at this game is just knowing where your danger spots are and knowing where to put safety saves. So Flux having one here, saving him a couple times here now. He'd like to make it a little bit less valuable and stop dying.
Rufus getting an energy drop off of somebody, so something gave him the little bit of energy to actually make that save for skipping the old-fashioned father cutscene.
That's pretty nice. It's really annoying when you enter here with no energy and you have to go get the one that's under the Baneling, and the Baneling kills you because that's what he does. He's an expert at that.
And then when you try to go through the laser cycle and you get it just right, the Baneling kills you again.
Yep. He does do that. Ooh, taking some damage here. He's got 5 HP, not a huge deal. He'll be collecting a 6th very soon. And he manages to get that dash glide. So Rufus is done with his skills. He's going to be making his way to Mount Horu, the final dungeon, which of course we will be skipping the entirety of, because that's how we roll. Oh, that's a laser.
Alright,
so Rufus has collected grenade, and he's done with his skills, and now he's
those lasers have such wonky hitboxes. And it's not even, specifically most lasers, those you can basically just stand right under and they won't hit you.
Oh yeah, there's a little safe spot in here that unfortunately
again!
Rufus is not making his way towards, and instead is just taking the depths. Again, he's got a very commanding lead over Flux, so this isn't like it's going to change the outcome of the race. They're just, for Rufus, they're just kind of annoying, and they're taking away his ability to set a very strong best race time here. Same death again. Oof. Flux is collecting climb too, so he'll be making his way out to Blackroot Burrows pretty shortly as well. A very, very good pace.
Oh, and Rufus is through the laser.
We did get that update again. 3:06. That is how far ahead Flux is compared to his personal best time right now. So very, very, very good shot at a PB here for him.
Flux taking some safety saves. If you were in his position in Religion, how many safety saves would you take going through Misty?
Every possible one. Like, if Soul Link is not on cooldown, I'm saving.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm 100% with you on that. This is the part of Misty where anything and everything can and will go wrong.
Sure is trying to kill you, that is for sure. Rufus even picks up a 7th health, so possibly showing that he's a little bit less confident in his play today, and he's like, you know what, I want to finish this run right now.
Oh no!
Oh.
It's trolled by the shooter.
Did Rufus just get hit by that Baneling? Oh my gosh, dude.
Oh.
Yep, he did. Because he had 7 HP.
And Banelings only do 6.
That's perfect. That is like the most damaging single thing in the game other than the instant kill spikes and lasers. But here we go. Door warp for Rufus. Want to see a first try here to help offset all the crap, and he gets it. Beautiful.
That is... After all of that, gets hit by the Baneling, survives, and gets first try door warp. That is a wonderful thing.
I really love that, you know, that audible by Rufus. He's told us that normally he'll pick up 6 HP, but I love the audible he called to go for the 7th one, just for that extra little bit of safety. So that's clearly paying off immediately. Now Rufus is making his way through final escape. You're going to see some charge dashes. You're going to see him outrun that laser pillar before it spawns, and so on. Flux on his side.
Nope. He
Oh,
got hit by the fire.
Yeah, you can, with 7 HP, theoretically take a hit from something else, like a meteor, but you cannot take the fire hit there. That's 4 damage.
Outrunning the lava plume.
Yep, but he's got just 2 more things coming up here. He's got the swim, which he should be very well equipped for with 7 HP. He hasn't taken any damage yet on this attempt. So that's 2, 3, 4 damage. So he even made through. He would have been fine with 5, but having the safety here.
And now for the last frame perfect. Oh, and oh no!
Oh my gosh! Quick exit game. Okay. Whew.
Oh, the last
Wow.
frame perfect trick of the run, and oh.
That's that feels so awful. And after all that. So if anybody hasn't seen that before, that's the grenade jump soft lock. If you get that and you allow the camera to fade out to black, then it will just soft lock your game entirely. You cannot use the menu or do anything, you're just stuck. And so Rufus had to exit and reload his file so that he could retry the final escape from the beginning. That's all you can do pretty much. It costs at least a minute to have that happen. As far as why it happens, there's slight things about your positioning on the chart, on the grenade jump, but it's really complicated, and sometimes you'll have the trick set up properly, and or it seems proper, and it doesn't work anyway.
Well, and sometimes you'll still have the trick right, and the screen will fade to black, but your timer will finish anyway. Isn't that right, religion?
I wouldn't know anything about that, Poogle. That's never happened to anybody.
I just figured that you being one of the leading knowledgeable sources in the community might have any ideas about it.
I mean, I am, for sure. I'm very knowledgeable. As Rufus is going for his grenade jump again. He's trying to get the input here. It's a frame-perfect input. He gets it this time.
There we go. And he's through.
To finish the run. He just needs to hold right for a little bit, and then he'll be done, as Flux is picking up grenade at that exact same time.
Considering that Flux is going for the best race he can think of, you think we're going to see any of the fun grenade jumps?
Most likely not from Flux. He'll be focusing on just playing the game, and I know that he has only barely started working on even the last grenade jump, so I'm not sure that other ones are going to really be in his repertoire yet.
That is true. Gets through the lasers for a shot. I do remember him saying he was not feeling super comfortable with the escape grenade jump.
Yeah, so there's a good chance we won't even see that one necessarily, but we'll see what he opts to do. You know, really, he's racing for himself here, as we've said from the start here. Although Rufus had kind of a rough run, and it was actually surprisingly in striking distance for Flux. Would have been a very significant upset if he had pulled it off, but really what we were expecting was Flux is racing for himself. And how are we doing on his PB?
He's over 4 minutes ahead again.
Beautiful. So let's hope for Flux to have a very strong finish here. We can see a very big PB for him, which will be awesome. Pretty close to his sum of best right now, actually. His I think we said it was 48 or something, right?
His sum of best, last I could recall, is 48.52.
Yeah, that's really impressive. This could be within about 2 to 3 minutes of that.
And he is also going for that 7th off.
Yep, another good play. No reason to risk it. This cell takes a grand total of 4.5 seconds to get. When you're 4.5 minutes ahead of your PB or whatever, like, who cares about the extra time?
Oh, takes the damage, but then immediately makes the save afterwards.
Plays a little careful on those projectiles from the turrets, making sure he gets... Oh,
does have the save, though, right there.
Good save to have. He redirects that shot directly at the elemental. This is like a, yeah, take this, buddy. Oh, be careful.
Oh.
Okay, he's fine.
Oh, God.
He has the high ground, so he's good.
That he does, and he is now coming up on his own door warp. Oof. I believe...
So his last race, managing the 6th try. Hopefully we'll manage to see something even less than that. Maybe go first.
I believe he can first try door warp.
I'm on board with you. I believe too. Let's go, Flux. Ah, almost.
Door warp
All
is
right.
so finicky.
Yeah, and it's difficult because there's no... I mean, there is a clear visual cue, but it's one that's hard to use. But that is very nice, though, still. It's improving his average from the previous race, too. And now we'll take the climb up to the element of warmth, and we'll be beginning our final escape.
So do you prefer to mash going into door warp or time it?
I always time it. It takes a lot of practice to be able to time it because... Like I was saying, the cue is basically that the screen fades completely to black. So it's really an awkward cue to use, but if you get used to it, it works very consistently to time it. That said, there's a top runner named Eviona who I believe their strat for door warp is they have 5 adjacent keys on the keyboard, all bound to up. And they just drum on them, basically.
Well, I mean, if it's consistent. but we have to ask the question, is that faster?
Well, if it works, it's the same speed, really. Alright, anyway, we got the swim for Flux.
Flux getting through the swim, no problems. Skipping spawning the big bird one last time. And...
Here we go.
Isn't...
Oh,
no!
Oh, God, the Sigma Rock,
the Sigma
dude!
Rock!
Are you kidding me?
Oh.
And that... Oh, wow, that's an unfortunate thing. Those rocks deal 1 damage. It's just really, really unfortunate that he took 1 extra damage in the water compared to what he could otherwise have taken. And so he was at 1 HP, and yeah.
Well, we know he's not going for grenade jump, but that was unfortunate.
I don't know, we'll see. Maybe he'll decide now, you know what? I will go for that grenade jump.
I'm betting he gets it too if he does go for it.
Alright, here we go. He gets out of the water with 2 HP, so he'll be okay this time. Does get the current despawn of that rock.
That
Jeez.
rock. Oh, and
he is
deciding to go for the finish. That is definitely going to be a PB for Flux.
Yeah, and a huge one too. That's going to be a 52-ish minute time. So very, very nice job by Flux in this race. Again, as we said, you know, with that PB differential, we weren't expecting Flux to win this race per se. What we were looking to see was both runners play really well.
He's going to have a PB by at least 3 minutes.
Very nice. Rufus probably would have liked to have had a better race. We'll be chatting with him in just a little bit.
But Rufus's time was 46:40.
That's right. And a lot of rust, it's very hard to come back from this to this game when you've been away for a while. Like I know from experience, every time I come back after a while, it's just brutal. But Flux on his end, he had managed to have a very solid run and improve his PB by quite a bit. That sounds like we're joined by Rufus. Hi, Rufus.
That does sound like we're joined by Rufus. How are you doing, man?
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good.
We're doing all right.
We're the ones interviewing. Chill, dude.
I'm sorry, I'll back off.
How are those nerves feeling?
I always get really nervous. I don't know why. I feel like I should be over it by now, but yeah, I always get really nervous, so they're there, but the calming music of the Ori credits is really soothing me down, so I'm feeling a lot better.
That's good to hear. We got
the optimizations.
We got the finish time for Flux as he did do some Nara hopping, and it was 52:40, a new PB by over 4 minutes. GG to him.
GG to Flux. GG to both runners.
Oh my goodness. So Rufus, obviously a little bit of spaghetti at certain times in your run. Kind of how did you react to that, and like how were you feeling as you were going? I know you were watching your opponent. Like, did that affect your thought processes during that?
Oh, 100%. In fact, I think this is one of the races that I could have. I think one of the only reasons I won is because I was watching and was able to make decisions in that way. Like, I was seconds away from just going and doing the Ginzo escape when I was trying to get to stomp it. I was just gonna backtrack it, but I was like, no, I still have time. Like, as long as I still have a little bit of a lead, I can not go too crazy. So I was able to make decisions that way.
Oh my god, I would have died if you do that. Would have been too much.
Well, I've got another race coming up tonight, so it's like I'm either gonna practice that segment for a couple hours, and if I'm still not feeling comfortable, I'm just gonna do the escape. So we'll see.
And I do believe we are going to have Flux with us as well. There he is. How are the nerves on your end, Flux?
That was pretty exciting of a run. I wasn't too worried about. I said before, I wasn't really particularly worried about winning because I knew that wasn't particularly likely. It would need a lot more than just me playing well for me to be even close. But, whew.
But a PB of over 4 minutes, how does that feel?
That feels pretty good, especially after my practice runs last night where I was on pace for PB of like about 1 or 2 minutes and lost it to the final escape. Definitely glad I went for that last health cell, even though it took a little bit of extra time. It was worth it, although definitely had some fairly painful deaths that should not have happened just throughout the run, but still.
Well, there was that good old Sigma rock right at the very end. Did that
I know that hurt.
I know that you've talked about you were practicing grenade jump, the final one in particular, a little bit. And I guess I was curious, did you think about doing it at all, trying to go for it in this run, or did you figure I'm just going for the strats I'm comfortable with all the way?
I wasn't sure. It was something I was vaguely considering, but during my practice with that last night, I just had too many times where it soft locked instead of going the way I should, and so I just decided I'm not going to worry about it, especially if I'm on a good PB pace.
And that you were.
Yeah.
Well, very nice job, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll throw back to Rufus for one quick last question before we wrap up here. Just going forward in the tournament, obviously this is the first match. You've got 4 more remaining. What are your goals going to be for the group stage and then possibly moving forward to the bracket?
For me, like speedrunning in particular is a lot about self-improvement, and so I know that this is a tournament setting and there's a lot about competing with others, but I'm just happy when I do a good race for myself, and it gives me that opportunity to be able to do that in a high pressure situation. So that's why I really like this kind of environment. So for me, I think playing this one being my first match, I felt that fire again, I guess, because I hadn't really practiced in a long time, as I'm sure it was obvious by the strats that I was messing up as being some of the newer ones. And so just being able to like really get back into practicing as long as my time allows, and hopefully be able to get that free PB that's been sitting around for a year.
That's for sure. Well, GG to both of you. Rufus, of course, congrats on the win. Poogle, as always, pleasure commentating with you. And, can you tell us what's coming up next?
Well, what's coming up next is another match in about 10 minutes, which is going to be Wilson versus the Spark. And y'all will be seeing more of me, actually.
Oh, boy. Nice. Well, we are going to be having a quick downtime of the stream as we're going to swap restreamers because we've got a total of 11 matches today, and it would be kind of a lot to ask one person to restream all 11. So we'll have a quick downtime, get the stream back up, and we'll be back. Poogle in particular will be back with Wilson and Spark. So
I will see all of you soon, and everyone have a wonderful day. Good job to the runners. Later.
Sit tight.